After talking about the 6 important stages in the development of Chinese characters, let's move on to the next part. That is about the conformation of Chinese characters. Speaking of which, we often need to mention the 6 categories of Chinese characters. In Chinese, that is 六书. According to the 6 categories of Chinese characters, there are 6 rules of Chinese character conformation, including pictographs, self-explanatory character, associative components, pictophonetic characters, phonetic non-characters, synonymous character. Actually, number 1, 2, 3, and 4 are about the character conformation, and the last 2 are about the usage of characters. So, let's focus on the first 4 rules. Let's look at the first one, pictographs. Simply speaking, it just means illustration of a shape. There are many examples about it. Just now, we mentioned some of them. Like this one. What is that? That's a tree, right? So the Chinese character is like a tree. Okay, that just shows how it is formed. That is about the first typical example. The second example, what is that? That is the mountain. It just looks like the shape of the mountain. That is about the first one, pictographs. Now, let's look at the second rule, self-explanatory character. Simply speaking, it just means pointing at things. You may look at the following ones. You may see that they just refer to different direction, right? Based on that, we can make a guess at the meaning. That is how the 2 characters came into being. Are you clear? The third one is associative components. Simply speaking, it just means assembled meanings. Like the following one, this part just means one person, right? There are 2 人. It just means 2 people. Here, there are 3 人. That just means the crowd. A lot of people, right? So from its form, we can see what it means. Also, that is how it just came into being. That is how people created that character. Are you clear? Well, okay, there is another typical example, like this one. Here, this one just stands for 1 tree. Here 2 trees. Here 3 trees. So many trees, that is a forest. The fourth rule is pictophonetic characters. This rule is more used by people. It is the most productive one. By means of that, many characters can be formed. Simply speaking, this rule just means the combination of form and sound. First, let me show you the rule about it. That is, usually 1/2 is related to the form, while the other half is related to the pronunciation. Now, let's look at the following examples. Like this one, the left half is about the form. The right half is about the sound. That is how this character just came into being. Are you clear? And the second example. So you can see that the first half or the upper half is about the sound, right? The next half is about the form. The third one, how about this one? Also, the left half is about the form. The right half is about the sound. Indeed, by means of that rule, a lot of Chinese characters are formed. That is why it is said that the rule is the most productive one. So it's quite helpful. After that, let's move on to the strokes. Speaking of the conformation of Chinese characters, we also need to mention the strokes. Strokes are the smallest units of Chinese characters, and there are 8 basic strokes. Now, let's take a look. How about the first one? Horizontal stroke. And the second one, that is vertical stroke. You know, vertical. And the third one, left falling stroke. What is that? And the next one, right falling stroke. And the next one, dot stroke. And the next one, upward stroke. What is that? And the next one, horizontal stroke with a vertical turn. What is that? And the vertical stroke with a hook. You know, hook? Okay, that's the answer. Let's listen to a song which is about those basic strokes in Chinese writing.
重生，一横长成长，一树自铿锵，一花蝶成双，一撇鹊桥上，一钩游江南，一点茉莉香。
It's quite tuneful, isn't it? More importantly, it just mentions the basic strokes of Chinese characters, right? Also, there are other commonly used strokes. So can you make a guess? How about the first one? Horizontal turning. How about the second one? Vertical turning. Okay, that's the answer. Well, let's do one activity about it. So, take a good look at the following character. Try to point out the strokes in that. Can you tell me the answer here? Right. The first one is horizontal stroke. The second one is vertical stroke. The third one is left falling stroke. And the fourth one is right falling stroke. That is about the strokes. After that, let's talk about another important component in the formation of Chinese characters. Radicals in Chinese just means 偏旁部首. Also, it's quite important. Unlike English, which has 26 letters, Chinese uses radicals to form different Chinese characters. So, they are quite useful. Now, Please look at the first one. That is about a hand, right? The second one, the sun, the moon, the tree, water, fire, farmland, eyes. There are other ones. You may take a look. So, there are many radicals which are so indispensable in Chinese characters. After talking about the radicals, let's move on to the next one. That is about the two systems of Chinese characters. Currently, there are two systems of Chinese characters. The first one, the simplified Chinese. The second one, the traditional Chinese. The simplified Chinese, developed by the People's Republic of China in 1954 to promote mass literacy, is a standardized character set used in mainland China. So all of us just use it now. The traditional system is widely used in Taiwan, Hong Kong, Malaysia, and some overseas Chinese-speaking communities outside mainland China. Since the simplified Chinese has fewer strokes, so it is simpler than traditional Chinese. Well, up to now, let's summarize what we have discussed above. We mainly discussed the Liu Shu. Do you still remember that? That is about the rules of the formation of Chinese characters. Also, we just mentioned strokes, right? And we mentioned radicals. They are all important in the formation of Chinese characters. Also, we just mentioned the two systems of Chinese characters, the simplified Chinese and the traditional Chinese. Mainly, in mainland of China, we just use simplified Chinese. But you can just see that as for those people in Taiwan and Hong Kong or the other foreign countries, they just use traditional Chinese. That is about what we have discussed. Thanks for your attention.